everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast once again, where today, sitting in with me is Stuart Corden. Stuart is the singer and bassist for BLITZ, a three-piece power trio from Nottingham, United Kingdom. The band started in 2015 and has released one EP, three full-length studio albums now with that new record, and a live record. Their latest album was released on April 26th. It's called Kicking Up a Storm. It's on Shock Records via Vanity Music Group. Stuart, it's great to have you, man.
Yeah, great for having us. Thanks for supporting new music and new bands. It's great when people kind of invite on the show and support new music. It's great.
Yeah, it is, man. There's a lot of music out there, and it's all, it's all for fans, man. You love what you do, and we love to listen. So, it's great to get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you write the songs in your bedroom or wherever, with the band. You throw these ideas around, and you go in a studio, you record an album, and it's just so cool when it gets a positive response and people kind of dig what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what, if you don't love rock and roll, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. And it's clear listening to this record, you are invested. You're into it. This is your passion, and I feel that come through in the music for sure.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting story how it's actually formed in the beginning. I mean, initially we were all in kind of different bands, and we were all kind of a little bit more hot. Let's say we were a bit kind of more hardcore, and I wanted to get back to the kind of music that made me want to pick up a guitar in the first place. Your real original kind of influences. So I happened to be with a band rehearsing in a rehearsal studio in Nottingham, where we're from, the home of Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest. And
There you go.
so I was rehearsing in a band, and the guy who was working at the studio, who was booking bands in, was the Blitz guitar player Kevin Simpson, and he had this big from the '78 solo album. He had this big Ace Frehley tattoo on his arm, and Queen. And I said, "Oh man, when I was a real kid, 11 years old, I remember buying, Kiss Destroyer,
Yep.
Cheap Trick, and Van Halen, and Queen, and all these bands." We started talking about the kind of bands that made us want to play in the first place. Aerosmith and Thin Lizzy, and a lot of them bands that you kind of, but you don't really join a band later and expect to pull on them influences. So we said, shall we try and get back to that? So we started writing together, demoing songs, and it was just natural process. We worked together really well. And then I happened to, in my day job, I work with young adults with learning disabilities and physical disabilities. And there's a guy who used to come in as a support worker, and he had this reputation as being just, one hell of a drummer. And I got chatting, and I thought, is this guy going to get what we're kind of doing? Because he's big. I mean, we all love Metallica, great. And he was talking about Metallica, and so we sent him the songs that me and Kev had been demoing, and we had a rehearsal. And that was 6 years ago. Ever since then, it's just been magic between the three of us. Really, it's always been two guys I'm really proud to be in a band with, but just don't tell them that.
That's great to hear, man. And it is like a marriage. I mean, you're writing these things together, you're performing together, you got to talk things out. It's an understanding between all of you, and it's a little bit. You come in with something you love, and you bring it to the guys, and maybe they don't love it. And that can be difficult, man. That breaks up bands. But when you can.
I think the way that Blitz handles all that, we put the song first before the ego. The song is the most important thing. When we talk about arrangements and we talk about the song, we talk about if something fits and it works, and it's much like football or soccer,
Right.
you'd say. Yeah, you've got to be prepared to kick the ball around a bit, and you've got to be prepared to pass the ball now and again. to get a goal, and that's what we do. Sometimes you bring something in and it might not quite fit what we do, or it's just being honest about the most important thing is the band. It's not, it's not me or Kevin. The most important thing is that we're the best we can be, and that sometimes that honesty, having to drop a part, or even you might have wrote the part, you think this is amazing, but if it doesn't fit the song and you play the demo to a few people and they say, that you're always going to get that in a band. You're always going to get that little bit of a rub, and I think sometimes that's what makes the magic.
I think
That's
so.
what magic. But we're lucky. There's only three of us, and it makes things pretty easy. It's like everything, when you go into something, you've got to be a little bit flexible.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you guys put this together. It sounds great, man. I there's a lot of new people here that haven't heard the band, and I listen to the band and I try to think of what it might sound like. And I'm hearing a lot of different things. I'm hearing those influences you mentioned and other things. How would you describe the sound of the band?
How I describe the sound of the band. I think we've got we've got a rock edge. I think we're not afraid to try. I mean, on the new album, there's a piano song on there, and it's not a power ballad, by the way. It's a song about how music pulls people together. It's called "I'll Find You in Yesterday." It's about the positive side of music. The people you meet, the places you go, and the positive experiences. And we're not frightened to go to these kind of places. There's songs on there that are just pure rock and roll. And there's a little bit of everything in there. I think the way I describe our sound is I'd like to think we're kind of a little bit unafraid. I think let's bring a piano in there. Let's put some little bit of funky bass in there. Let's put a little bit of real hardcore metal in there. Mix. We like to mix it up. And we like songs with really big hooks and big anthems. We're kind of known for this thing, having these big anthemic choruses, these big anthems where people can, these big sing-along choruses. And that's another part of what we do. But we've never tried to be a band that boxes itself into a corner where, this is, a lot of bands are brilliant at that. I mean, bands like AC/DC, they're just so cool because they can keep just being AC/DC forever, can't they?
Right.
Everybody just wear AC/DC's guitar sound, and wow, we take a lot of inspiration from Queen in the respect that Queen were very unafraid to kind of try new things and with production, the big production, and I think that's where we connect. We connect on that level where we're not afraid. I mean, if you listen to the whole of the album, there's the rockers on there. The whole thing's kind of mixed up. There's some kind of Sammy Hagar influenced kind of relationship themed songs, and I just think it's that whole thing. A good song is a good song, and that's whether you're Garth Brooks or you're Metallica, a good song is a good song.
I agree. I totally agree. And I'm surrounded here by music, and it's not all just hard rock. You know what I mean? I love that. I grew up with that, but I have all kinds of stuff here, and that's there's a great song there, and there's a great song there, and they're completely different genres of music. And you bring that. Yeah, you definitely bring that. And I'll find you in yesterday really stood out to me too. Not because it's a little bit different on the record, but it's just so passionate. It sounds like it was written for someone really special. Tell me a little bit more about that. How that song came together and what the real inspiration there is.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Really, the whole theme of that song is about. It's about when I was 14 years old, and when we were all the gang at school, and we'd be exchanging albums. We'd be exchanging vinyl back in the day, and you'd be swapping your live bootleg Aerosmith for Cheap Trick, Live at the Budokan, and you'd be swapping up his albums. And I had a really, really close friend who I spent a really, you have them summers when you're 14 and and summer breaks up, and you get the summer break, all the guys hang out, and you go into town and you meet the girls and it's all that great stuff about. And this is the positive side about rock music, I think. When I was a kid, rock was the thing, it was the thing that brought people together. And my best friend was a guy called Neil North, and his nickname was Noddy, after Noddy Holder from
There we
Slade.
go. Yeah, absolutely.
So my real close friend, and that's exchanging albums, and he was a big fan of the Who as well. And who isn't? I mean, the Who are amazing.
Yeah.
And then years later, he passed on, and so I was thinking about the whole thing is based on this guy, and well, not just that guy, but how music pulls us all together. You make friends, and you make even now. I'm talking through the promoting the album and talking to people. I'm meeting so many cool people, and that's what the rock community is really great for that.
Yes, totally. And I grew up in it. Two older brothers, so I mean, every friend I think I ever had was through the rock community in some way. There was a connection, and it's really special, and that song, it really taps into that. Uh, it's beautiful to listen to. Yeah, and you mentioned it's not a power ballad. Explain why it is not a power ballad.
I think if we'd have sat down and wrote a power ballad, I'd have probably wrote it about my wife or, some love of the love of my life and things. But the thing about that song, it's an emotional song, and it's about the love of rock music. Really, it's about the love of music, and it's about in my life, what music has done to me. I've done so many crazy things, but without blowing the old trumpet, but. I was in a band when I was young. I ended up playing at the Budokan
Beautiful.
in Japan. I
Um,
did that. I did a series of gigs with Jack Bruce, who was the bass player and singer in Cream, and we rubbed up on me, made me want to be a bass player and a singer.
man,
And it got me to meet so many of my heroes. And the only thing I never actually did, I never got to play with Kiss, and that was always a dream of mine.
yeah.
I'd love to have been the opening act on any of them tours. That would have been magical.
Man, Budokan and Jack Bruce, man, that is
Jack Bruce, yeah. And when we supported the Jack Bruce band, his solo band,
uh,
um, the drummer in the band was a guy called Bruce Gary, who was the drummer in the Knack. If you
okay.
remember
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bruce Gary, and Bruce Gary was such a cool guy, and I always remember because he had this cool leather jacket on, and he had these leather winkle picker shoes, the pointy shoes, the rock and
Yep.
roll shoes. And he was such a cool dresser. I always remember that.
That's great, and that's its personality, it's really, and speaking of that, I look at the Blitz records, and there is a look to it, and I noticed this name, Big Dave Hurst. That is the artist for your records, right?
Yeah. We're very, very lucky. Surround yourself with good people. And we're so lucky because we've got so many good people around us. Dave Hurst, Big Dave Hurst. There's a reason this guy looks like a mountain. He's a really and he does all our artwork. If you've ever seen the Blitz artwork, it's like a combination of Marvel and manga.
Mhm.
I grew up being a big comic book lover. I was a comic book nerd way before it was cool to be a comic book nerd.
I hear
And
you.
Jack Kirby, and I just love all the '70s stuff as well. Anyway,
Yeah.
when we want to do the artwork, I through comic books. There's a local comic book store in town, and everybody kind of meets up there. And this guy was always he's just an amazing artist, and he jumped on board, and yeah, he gives us a very distinctive look. All our T-shirts and the merch and everything, has got Big Dave verse written all over it. And if you look in the booklet for the new album, the artwork in there, that's Big Dave. And again, we've got a photographer called Heather Burns. All the photography work that you see on there, and the cover, because it's a photo cover to the new album, Kicking Up a Storm.
Yep.
Heather Burns does all the photography, and we've always worked with her as well. And once again, you know, really good people to be around. And I think this is the secret, you know, surround yourself with cool people. You'll be good. You know, it'll make sense.
We all take care of each other for sure. Yeah, it's great. You know, and like I say, I mean there is a unified look to all the Blitz stuff, and that is really a great marketing tool, because I see a certain thing and I think Blitz right away. You know, there's a certain look to it for sure.
We all the first album's called Welcome to the Rock Show. The second album's called Fight to Survive. Then we did a live album called Take No Prisoners, and then there's the new album Kicking Up a Storm. And the new album Kicking Up a Storm is the only album where it's a photo cover, so it's us on there, because everything else, we got people wondering what we actually look like. Big Dave does these fantastic renditions of what we dreamed we look like in real life. You know, there's a lot of artistic license, you know, but so we did a photo cover. But if you look inside there, it's full of Dave's artwork, even on the CD, the print CD, you know.
Yeah,
everything Dave's artwork.
But even the cover with the photo, the background of it and the colors, and there's a certain something that you bring to the artwork that says Blitz. You know, it really, even with the photo, and it's not the, you know, the drawing and the animation. There is some animation there in the background, or you know, the color. It's just something that you have, and it's you know, the art direction here is really fantastic. Really good. I noticed it right away. You know, looking through the records.
We've always kept it.
Yeah.
We've always kept it in house, and we've always had a kind of little bit of a vision that we wanted the band to be visually entertaining as well as musical, because you know, you look, wait, again, thinking back in the day when you used to flip open the double sleeve album, and you used to just lose yourself in there, and there'd be the lyrics, and there'd be, I mean, this is why, you know, we still do hard copy CDs and things, because we want people to read the lyrics. We want to have if anybody gets the album out there, the hard copy, you've got the booklet, you've got the artwork, you've got the lyrics, and you can get more across, you know. In a world where everybody's saying stream, we've always done it old school, to the extent that we want to give somebody a product that you can sit with, you can listen with, and you can lose yourself in, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we've kind of always aimed at, you know.
And I love that, man. I love pulling out a record or opening it up and, you know, reading the liner notes, you know, who mastered it, who engineered it, you know, all of that stuff, the thank yous, the lyrics. You know, it's an event to buy a record. It really was a special thing, and I love seeing that, you know, in newer bands, giving me that opportunity to do that and make it an event, make it special. It's cool. It's definitely cool. I want to talk about your producer, Matt Elliss. Did How long have you been with Matt, and you know, is there a difference from the first record to the newer record? What would you say is the biggest difference?
We've recorded all of our albums apart from the live album. We've recorded all the studio albums with Matt Elliss from Axis Studios in Doncaster, UK. He's got a really good reputation. He's worked with some great bands. Black, you know, he's worked with. There's a band called Massive Wagons that are getting a lot of push over here. He's worked, you know, he did a lot of work with those as well, and we've always had a good rapport with him. And the thing about Matt is, it's, you know, he really puts you through your paces. He's not one of these guys, you know, you turn up, you've got to put the work in, you know, with Matt, you know, you've got to be prepared to, again, he puts you through your paces. You know, if you're in the vocal booth and he's saying, try this, try that, try this, you've got to keep it in. and you've got to kind of try it and give it a go, and through that kind of trying things, I think we've got some of the best kind of vocal stuff on the new album as well. Just pushing you, he'll push you, and that's really what you want from a producer. You want a guy, you know,
Going to
back in the
bring out the
day,
best.
people like Eddie Kramer and
Yeah.
Bob Ezrin. These producers didn't just sit on the laurels, did they? I mean, they pushed for new sounds. And if you listen to Kicking Up a Storm, there's a track on there. The second track is called Shell Shocked, and the sound of the snare and the bass on there is just phenomenal. What the work he did on it. And it even kind of the snare sound on that song. He called it the BLITZ snare, and he like got that sound to it. And so the sound from the first album to the new album, of course, he's got more outboard gear, and the whole thing's grown. But yeah, I think we love working with Matt.
Yeah. Yeah. Has the writing changed for you over the years? It's the same three guys, and you have this, this connection, this bond, this chemistry. It's always been great. You've always approached it the kind of similar way, right? Has it changed over the years?
I think sometimes a good idea is just a strong idea. I think now sometimes Kev will send a demo, and then we'll work on it, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll change. The demo might evolve from there. I mean, even to the point where if he sends me something on a Saturday morning, and I'm thinking sometimes the first time you listen to a song for an idea, that's when the best ideas come, I think. And if I listen to it, I've got a really good melody, I'll play his demo on my laptop while I record. I get my phone out and I'll sing the melody into my phone, and I say, "What do you think of this?" And yeah, I like that. And it'll kind of grow from there. And then Matt will come in. We get in a rehearsal room. He'll play with the arrangement, and we'll talk about the arrangement of the drums and everything. And Matt writes some great drum parts. He's got lots of real cool build in his. He's not one of these drummers that just he can crack the big 4/4s like the AC/DCs, and he can also put them real kind of subtle parts in there. He's a real writer of music. Matt is. He's just not a drummer, and he's a great singer. And our drummer, there's loads of great. I mean, Kev sings as well, but Matt's the main kind of harmony guy and stuff. He's got a great voice, and that has grown from the first album to now. Because on the first album, Matt didn't really sing much, and now he's just blossomed. Really, he's really grown into this singer. Really,
wow.
We're hoping to get him singing a track on the new album, the next album. We want Matt to sing a song on there. Man, we're already working on the next one. So
that's awesome, man. That is good news, man. That's cool. Yeah, and I noticed that, the harmonies here, and the gang vocals, they're cohesive. They're very focused. Really well done. The gang vocals, especially, we got the power it's bright. It hits you. And it reminded me of the old school stuff. That was, I know that's what you were going for. Making this record, anything else that you wanted to specifically have pronounced on this record, like more harmonies, more gang vocals, maybe more guitar parts, or you wanted a little more bass player, or whatever it might be? Was there a specific thing that you wanted to bring out with this record?
I think the big thing was the arrangements. We wanted if you look, there's a song on there. If I can talk about the singles off the album, the videos for this thing, we did a song called Freddie Said, which is a bit of a homage and dedication to the mighty Queen, and we did a video for that. And what we wanted to do, if you listen to that song particularly, emphasizes it. The arrangement on it, we wanted it to not have a basic, and we wanted the arrangement to be quite, dare I say it, to move around. We want the keys to move around. We wanted it just like Queen. We wanted not ripping Queen off at all, but we wanted to be because the song is inspired by.
Yeah, it's got a progressive side to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what that song became. And there's a lot of songs, we looked into the arrangement and the way we do things, and we're always looking at how we can make it interesting. From when you're a musician, I think, like we were talking earlier about different kinds of music. I think if you can listen to different kinds of music as well, when you come back to you love your life, which is metal music, rock music. When you come back to that, you kind of it's like a computer menu dropping down. You've got all these influences. I mean, I like everything from Prince, Prince to blooming Metallica. It's all. I think, and it pushes you to develop your technique as a musician. As a bass player, I love everything from funk music to jazz, and then if you were to ask Billy Sheehan, what do you listen to? He'd probably say the same thing. He'd probably say, well, I listen to a lot of jazz. Stanley Clarke's a great bass player.
Right.
Jaco Pastorius from Weather Report.
Oh, oh yeah.
It's nice to have. It's nice to be able to fall back on that. You don't want to be using it all the time to bore people to death. You know what I mean? The
Right.
song, like earlier again, the song is the most important thing. The song is the most important. And a lot of the videos Freddie said was the video. There's a great video to that. We had such good fun doing that. We dressed up as the Queen characters and things. That's such a good laugh.
It's great.
And there's a song on there called "Keep Moving On." Again, we had such cool fun doing that as well.
And had that AC/DC kind of feel to it,
Totally. And simple messages like "keep moving on" is kind of whatever life throws at you. Keep moving on. Stay focused. Don't let this stuff drag you down. And there's always somebody going to say, yeah, you got to keep focused. And keep. That's all. Kind of a lot of our songs like that. We've got a single coming out in July from Kicking Up a Storm, the new album. It's called Cog, which is on the album. It's called Cog. The actual title is Crawling on Glass.
Yes.
But it's going to be the summer single that we thought. Well, it's England, so it'll probably rain all summer anyway.
And that song stood out to me too. And it's weird. It was very strange to me because I'm listening to it and I'm feeling this certain. There's, I listen to everything. So back in the day, and you would know this band, Black and Blue.
I know Black and Blue.
Yeah. Tommy Thayer, right, and produced by Gene Simmons early on, but in that song, there's a slight nuance that you do with your voice that reminded me of their singer, Jamie St. James. And it just so happens that when you do that little nuance, it's very similar to how he sang. You say the words black and blue, which was really it was so bizarre to me, and I thought maybe that was some kind of homage or something like that. Very interesting to me. Just that little part just reminded me of Jamie St. James' voice, the thing he does, and you're saying black and blue.
I love that. Is the album Nasty Nasty? What's the album? Nasty Nasty. Is it Nasty Nasty?
I remember the first album. I listened to that over and over and over.
I think it's the one with. I'm trying to think what the song is. I think it's Nasty Nasty.
Okay, that's a later album. Yeah.
I just think they were such an underrated. They deserved a lot more success than they got.
Yeah.
They deserved to do the big time. They were a great band, Black and Blue.
Yeah. And it was great. It was great to hear that little bit of that Jamie St. James hooky kind of thing in your voice. I didn't expect that because it's you do Blitz, you do you, and it is you. But there's it had a little bit of a influence there, and I was like, wow, that's so cool.
I never started as a singer. The bass thing. I was a guitar player that got the job playing bass because everybody wanted a bass player. In your first school band, when you're about 14, and everybody I play guitar. Oh, we need a bass player. So I ended up playing, and I got this thing. Oh, he's a good bass player. So I got the bass player then took over, and then it years later, because I'd write a song and we'd have singers in bands, and I'd be saying, oh, I've wrote these lyrics. What do you think to these? And the vocal melody is this, and I'd sing the vocal melody, and then the singer would sing it. And so later, I was in a position where, we needed a singer, and I was saying, oh, why don't you, I'm bringing songs to the table, so I've got this great idea for a chorus, and I'd sing it, and I'd say, why don't you just sing it? And so that's what I did. That's literally how I am.
I love it, man. I mean, you're great. You sound great doing it. The bass is, that's the thing. A lot of times when you're singing and playing, especially in a three piece, you have to fill a lot of space, and you have two jobs to do. That is, and you have these bass lines are not just keeping pace, thumping along. There's funky stuff going on.
My hero, Geddy Lee, of course, from
Yeah.
Rush, and John Entwistle from The Who.
Oh yeah.
Finger players, not plectrum players. I think if you play bass, it's great to feel the strings. I've never been a plectrum player when I play bass. So, my big hero of Geddy Lee's just the main man, and John Entwistle. Wow, I think he was known as Thunderfingers, weren't he?
Yeah, or the Ox. Yeah.
Technique.
Yeah.
And then, a lot when I get up there, it's like the singing thing and the playing thing. It just came together, especially with Blitz. But on top of that, of course, because we're a three piece, we've got this thing about our live shows. We're really well known for involving the audience and putting a show on. And it's like you've got another job. You're playing bass and you're singing, and you've got to occupy that space as a front man. And with the bass around your neck, you've got to still be. I'm very conscious about. It's just as important to entertain people as well and get them involved and put a show on as it is. Obviously the whole thing is playing well. But
right.
The entertainment angle of. I mean, my favorite frontman of all time, David Lee Roth, early David. Roth was back in the day. He was just a force of nature, absolute force of nature, and and some of the best frontmen of all time. And you want to bring that aspect to the whole experience. That's what we concentrate on, because you can be note perfect and you can get up there and you can stand still and stare at your shoes and you can play, and that's great.
No.
But if you combine that with stage presence and you combine that with entertaining as well, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. And that's
if you want to. There's always an angle of you can go and watch a band in a studio. You can listen to a band play, and all these things matter. And this is, I think, the reason music is so hard, because you've got to combine all these factors. You've got to combine involving an audience, being entertaining, writing the songs from honest songs from your heart.
Right.
The reason when Blitz were first formed, I was in a band that were down tuning and they were quite aggressive. And the reason I wanted, and some bands do that so well. You think about Kill Switch Engage and some bands who do that so well.
Yeah.
I was in a band at the time. I was in a band that didn't do it well, and I had to kind of think to myself, why am I so angry? Because I'm genuinely known for not being an angry person. And we were playing with a lot of bands who were on the circuit who were like, the front man and be going, and then in between the track, the Sam on the side of that sign and say, could I have a little more through my monitor?
Right.
It wasn't honest, and though it's quite ironic that people talk about like rock and roll and say, oh, it's quite fantasy driven, really. But I think a lot of rock and roll in a way is just as honest, because you're talking about finding love and relationships, and you're talking about the things that drive you in life, and you're
Right.
talking about passion, the passion of life, and how you want to grab it, and that's what rock and roll is to me. Whether you're James Brown, David Lee Roth, it's that passion,
Yeah.
that rock. And I think the thing about Blitz, I think we're pretty honest when it comes to that. You listen to the lyrics on the album, and they're all real experiences we've had. Any song you can throw at me, they're all written about real things.
Yeah, it is a very organic, natural feel to it. Yeah, there's a lot of passion, and it's fun. It's a fun record too, as well. It goes deep, but it also has a lot of fun. The harmony vocals, the gang vocals are, it's anthemic, like you were saying before. It's just a fun record to listen to all the way around. It's a journey, it goes peaks and valleys. It gives you different things. Beautiful record, man. Beautiful record. Um,
We got
yeah,
we, we got as we're talking about being a three piece, and you have to kind of work a little bit harder. And I just want to say that our guitarist Kev, I mean, he does such a great job. I mean, he'll like use harmony pedals to kind of give it harmony. He uses a lot of really nice ways of fleshing the sound out a bit. The comment we get live a lot is, for a three piece, you guys sound so full.
yeah,
And that again is like you were saying, it's attention to arrangements, attention to what you do and when you do it in a song.
yeah, yeah. And I noticed, you have the live album after two records, and that's pretty unusual. So I thought they have to really believe in their live performance to do that. Usually the live record comes somewhere down the road when you have, a bigger catalog or you're more comfortable in the live setting. Uh, this came early on in the career of Blitz, and there's a certain energy and electricity that comes with that live shows in there.
Well, definitely. I mean, there's a reason it came out so early as well. The reason Take No Prisoners, the live album, came out is because COVID hit and we couldn't actually get together to record. So we had Kev had been recording a lot of live shows, and we had all these live recordings. So Kev says, "I'm gonna while we can't, we need a project. While COVID, nobody could do anything.
Yeah,
So Kev said, let's look at these live recordings." So we went back and we looked at them. This, we found these full shows that we had, and there's some stuff that we haven't actually released from that because we had so much.
wow,
So all we did, we picked the versions we liked the most, and we sent them off for mastering, and it became Take No Prisoners. It became the live album, and a lot of that album, if you listen to it, there's no overdubbing on it. There's nothing on it apart from us. And if you listen, the crowd on there, it's a place called a lot of it was a lot of the shows we used, a lot of the parts of the shows we used was a place in our hometown of Nottingham, and it was a venue called Albert's, and it was one of those places all the bands play, and it's a real rock and roll kind of barroom atmosphere. It's great, and all the voices on there that you hear are the Albert's crowd. And I get still to this day when I listen to that album, I get quite emotional because Albert's don't exist anymore. Like a lot of things now
oh
in
no,
rock and roll, it ended up getting closed down, and it's just really sad.
yeah,
These great venues. I think if we want rock and roll to continue, want rock music to keep, we need to we need to switch to Netflix off for one night, go and see a band and support. There's so many good acts out there, so many great bands. You know, Back in the day, if people didn't do that, there'd have never been a Metallica, and there'd have never been a
right.
Kiss, and there'd have never been people got out there, and they got behind new music. And I think
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah. Any plans to tour? I'm here in Chicago. I'm a Yank. I'm in the middle of the country here. It's very difficult. Touring is extremely difficult. A lot of different things to take into consideration. Do you have any desire first, any plan to tour outside of the UK?
Our our big dream is if we could get to the States and get around, you go around Europe. It's all being looked into, but yeah, like you rightly said there, the logistics to getting on tour and getting out there, it's wow. You got to have a
Yeah.
visa for this and a visa for that, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, we've been pretty lucky in the. I mean, we were in Scotland 2 or 3 weeks ago, which from us from Nottingham, where we're based, it's about a 6-7 hour drive. So we go out to Scotland, and we did some date. We've done some dates out there, and we come back, and all these little boroughs. There's a lot of little kind of cool places in the UK that are cool venues that you can keep it rolling. You can keep doing. We have a big festival called Hard Rock Hell HRH, and it's held every year. And we've been on that for the last 3 years, and we've played with the likes of on the same stage as Skid Row and Mr. Malmsteen,
Yeah.
and Love Hate. Love Hate's coming up this year, and that's a really big to do. It's a place called Yarmouth in the UK, and we stay over there. We drive down, we stay over. Lots of our friends in other bands, we get together and just have a great time.
It's
And we
awesome.
do. We're also in on the 27th of July. We're playing at a place called Loughborough in the UK, and a place called the Cas Bar, which is a really great venue. And we're playing that a special one-off thing for the Cas Bar. We're playing the whole of the new album, Kicking Up a Storm, and then we're gonna do 2 sets, and then we're gonna come on and do like the Blitz classics after that, and do
Awesome.
another. So 2 sets. We're doing the whole album in its entirety.
Wow.
We've put together some special merch for that and everything. So we're pushing that. So yeah. We would love to get to Europe. Some things have come together we've got some friends in and quite a big European band called Osakura who wanted. We were going to exchange some gigs. They were going to come to the UK. We were going to go to Sweden.
Ah,
All these things are permanently being looked into. But Dave Tedder is the guy who I want to thank Dave for taking us on board and getting us on Shot Records and
yeah.
Vanity Music. And Dave, I'm sure anything Dave can do to get us out there, he'll do it.
Yeah. Dave's great. Dave's great.
He's a great guy.
He works hard. He
He's
definitely. Yep.
yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Stuart, it has been great, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate the music. It's fantastic. We'll have links to where everybody can get that record, open it up, and enjoy it. And yeah, I appreciate you. My door is open anytime. Please come back and see me, man.
Thank you, Scott. And yeah, Chicago. We've never been on anything in Chicago, so that's
Yeah,
that's
we're,
great. That's great.
we're
But
waiting for you,
thanks
man.
thanks for having us on your show. We just about like a lot of other bands, just trying to get a break. It's just great that you'll play our stuff and that you've listened to it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for making it. I appreciate you, man. Have
Thank
a
you,
great,
Scott, man.
have a great day, Stuart.
Same to you. Be lucky, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.